Please switch to disc 2. Checking disc.
So naming motifs.
Specific connection.
Anyways, specific connections.
Yes. All right. So the next one is basically we're going to subcategories of specific connections that happen. So a bit more specific to certain places. We're gonna start with the category of characters. So the first one we wrote was the naming motif of the Vandam, or like kind of the Sid effect of the Xeno series. So Vandercom, I cannot pronounce half of these.
Vandercom, Vangear.
So Vandercom, Vangear, Vandam, and Vandam.
I'm sorry, it's just like, do you know that like English is not my first language, so most of the time when I read names like this, like my French brain kind of comes into it, and then I'm like, how do I pronounce this in French or in English or both?
English.
All right, but yeah, this is something that appears like we often have the sort of Sid of the Xeno series reappearing, so. We have multiple of those.
I mean, that's basically the next few entries.
Yeah.
Like, that and Maria Balthazar is also, like, My Magus.
Yeah.
Who she's clearly a reference
that was
to.
a big wink to Xenogears from Xenosaga III.
My Magus, I would argue, was a bit more direct than the Vandercom Vandams.
Yeah. Yeah, those are less direct. Those are more like, oh, we're bringing back this funny character around type thing, and then afterwards, like, it's pretty much a character archetype of like someone being like, oh, you maggots, type thing.
Military drill sergeant, basically.
It's the...
Except for Xenoblade 2's Vandam, he kind of breaks a lot of that.
Yeah, he's the only one that breaks it, but has a similar name.
He still leads a...
Yeah.
He still leads a...
He calls you a slacker, but
so,
then he gives you a juice box.
He's a lot nicer about
he's
it.
the sweetest of all of them.
He's... Okay, maybe not the sweetest. He is probably the dadliest, but
I
would say that Vandam and Xenoblade X is actually pretty dadly as well.
He also calls you a slacker, but he gives you a juice box and a box lunch. He does give you a tea and a box lunch.
Yes.
Alright, the next one on the list is HB and Akos. Akos. I'm always like confused with the pronunciation. I'm sorry.
It's alright.
Akos is just HB with a different belief.
Yeah.
That's it.
I believe they were both designed by Soraya Saga.
Hideo Kojima. It's just Hideo Kojima.
Did I cut out?
They just took a picture of him and said, "Oh, yep, this is design."
Right.
But I know that Soraya Saga likes drawing both of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I thought HB looked like Bayonetta. I thought HB stood for He's Bayonetta.
That is also true.
Kojima kind of looks
Akos
like
is
Bayonetta.
also Bayonetta. Akos stands for
they're both,
Bayonetta again.
They're both really extra.
That's
and
correct.
that's what makes them
You heard it
awesome.
here. Now make fan art.
That's
of
actually
it,
the
guys.
reason.
Go make fan art
I
of
remember
that.
I watched the anime. Haven't you heard I'm Sakamoto? And I always pictured.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
good.
I always pictured
That's
HB
him.
as the father and then Bayonetta as the mother.
Oh my god,
Yes.
you're right.
So the reason they can't put him in Smash Brothers is because there's already Bayonetta and Joker, so you got it covered. It's like, wait, you want me to put in another clone?
Alright. Next one is Abel and Ellie, or Abel and Ellie fan? Or
Well, no,
I think that was a
Abel's
typo
fine.
too.
Abel
you want to Abel and Nephilim?
I mean, there is
Like,
Abel and
basically-
as well.
Yeah, there is an
Abel and Ellie
Yeah,
is actually
for
more
sure.
accurate.
There is an Abel in Xenogears.
The Abel and Ellie
Yeah,
is
true.
actually the reference you're going for more
Yeah.
properly than
Yeah.
Faye.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Abel
I
and
see.
Ellie to Abel
Because people get a little confused. They kind of assume, oh, they're trying to remake Faye and Ellie with Abel and Nephilim, and that's not really why they were made. It was more just well, aside from being it's a reference, sure, but they didn't have to make them look like that. But it's more of a reference to how in that Xenogears has a. I always struggle to find the words to word this eloquently enough so that nobody can take it out of context and try to say something
goddamn else. Luck.
Whew, it's tough. Look, so Xenogears has Abel in a time period that's basically it takes place after a certain time amount after Earth that Xenosaga is basically the same as, and they both have their version of Abel. But what they ended up doing was that they instead of wanting to just do Abel again, even though he still has the same name, they completely reconceptualized like the character. He's not even the same character. That version of Abel is very different from what they did in Xenogears, and they were not going for the same thing at all.
Yeah.
They just look very similar in character design. They are completely different characters. Nephilim as well too.
There's a few things that you could say are actually pretty similar, but Abel in Xenogears was made for the Fae story. Abel in Xenosaga is not made for something like that.
No, but it's more like, I think the reference goes more into saying that it was still kind of a wig because they look pretty much the same-ish. A bit different, but kind of very similar.
And they even kept the idea, well, this never happened in Xenogears, but they even, pushed it further. They even had Nephilim become, like, an adult, or at least, like, an adult form at the end, just to create, like, that visual of her with, like, a young Abel. Nephilim was also a pretty reconceptualized character, mostly because of, I can't even say most, actually, like, because they're both, like, Ellie's origin is, at least in my opinion, it's really fucking weird. And Nephilim is, at first appears as, like, this supernatural thing. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you have no idea what's going on when you first play the game. But then they added the thing where she was actually just, like, a regular human at some point in a completely different era. And that is where that's where a lot of differences come in. It's a very, different situation. But they're still, at the end of the day, they're still incredibly obvious references, and they actually had to, when they were making Xenosaga, they actually had to, they always try to stay in contact with these other companies, and they were like, if we make these characters look like this, is that okay, Square? And Square, at least at the time, didn't give a shit, so they were like, yeah, whatever, you do what the fuck you want. Like, so... Yeah, that's why they were able to explicitly make them look like that. If that wasn't a thing, it wouldn't have really been a big deal. But, they decided to go with that in the end. There's also a weird thing. I've never actually been able to confirm this. There's I guess rumor in quotes, that if you look at Abel's model in Xenosaga 3, he has like his name on the thing, but it's very low texture. It says Abel, but there's another name after, and some people think it says Wong.
Oh.
Which
interesting.
Would be it would probably be kept blurry just because that's like too unsubtle.
Yeah.
Like that's like too much of a nod. So maybe that's why they never made it clear at all. It's just like, it kind of looks like Wong, but not really, because it looks so shitty.
I will get those files one day, and I will look at those textures and find out.
I don't think you'd be able to... Like, I have the source code, and I still can't tell what it is.
Damn.
Wow.
Wow. So, like, I feel like if those models did not look the same as the predecessors there, they probably would not be connected.
Yeah, for the most part. No, most people wouldn't think of it. You could think of a few things still, but it's still... They did want to, like, allude to Abel and Ellie and Xenogears. They still wanted that to be like, they wanted that to feel like, okay, this is Xenosaga's version of that from that specific, like, part of the game. But it wasn't, that was, like, always something I wanted to do, which is why they used those designs. I think Takahashi also said something like, it was like a quote where it's like, it's like, sometimes it's like when you see an actor from another movie, like how Sam Raimi likes to use Bruce Willis. Did I say Bruce Willis? I'm stupid.
Bruce Campbell?
You mean, yeah I know
what
you mean.
Bruce Willis is M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah, it's still not even exactly like that, because there's characters that are meant to be taken more seriously in that game, in both games. So it's still not exactly the same. But, it's it's pretty complicated to talk about because there's always there's a lot of preconceptions about why he does certain things, and it's usually not what a lot of people think it is. It's usually sometimes it's not even sometimes they don't even know themselves like necessarily because it's not thought out in the same way. Like the consciousness of how they conceptualize these things are not. It's not on the same. They're not on the same wavelength of what the fans are thinking it is, or what the fans think is what's going on like Takahashi's mind when he's making something. Because for Takahashi, it's a lot of it is. He's just doing what he feels like doing. He's come so clean about that over time. He's like, this is what I felt like doing at the time. He just goes with it. That's why, I've mentioned this before. It's why you go from Xenoblade X to Xenoblade 2. There's a little bit of a jarring difference between those two games. He was pretty done with his design concepts for Xenoblade X.
That actually really reminds me of like some of the talk I heard about like the concepts behind like Rico. It was like the obvious one is Blanca, but then the other one was like really way more obscure with like the I think it was in particular towards like the locks and stuff on his arms, like the chains and stuff like that. And just like it's from some movie I'd never even heard of.
Everybody just says Blanca and Ganondorf.
Yeah.
The Blanca thing's real. That's what he was.
Ganondorf wasn't.
Yeah,
I
that's.
don't think that form of Ganondorf.
He's never been mentioned.
Also out from Nintendo at that time because Xenogears came out before Ocarina of Time, didn't it?
Yes, but he still has some resemblance to. Because he doesn't even look like Ganondorf from Ocarina of Time. So even then, it's like, I mean, that was never on the table anyway. Like nobody actually. He does look like him.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody believes he was based on that. Yeah, and in later games he gets like a beard and shit. So it's very hard not to think of it because it does look very similar. But I don't think I've ever actually heard anyone outright say he was based on that. Just that he looks like him.
Let's talk about another character.
Big Joe and Great Joe.
Yeah. Big Joe.
Like, yeah. The name, right?
Now, before we get to the other character I see mentioned in this document with Big Joe and Great Joe, I want to mention just one thing. So Great Joe in Xenosaga, in the English dub, am I the only person that thinks he sounds like Yuki?
I was about to ask the same thing!
He does
Soul Crusher!
The Soul Crusher!
I'm so glad
don't remember now. Oh, it's a Kingdom Hearts reference. Damn.
Same here. It's all connected. It's all connected.
It's all
They're
the
all working
same
together.
game.
I mean, Japanese albedo is Japanese Donald Duck, so let that sit in for a second.
I remember seeing that when I died.
If I were Donald Duck and I lived forever, yeah, that's probably me. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like the natural progression of things.
Great Joe was an extra boss in Xenosaga Episode 1. Throwback to Big Joe from Xenogears. And you had something to say about this, didn't you, Nick?
Okay, so yeah, we all know that Great Joe had like a vast amount of backstory. Yeah, that's all covered. He said very much there was a lot to allude that he was based on Big Joe. Especially, how he looked exactly like him, right? No.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, I have and this goes a little bit harebrained, but I feel like Professor B in Xenoblade X was a reference to Big Joe. And the reason why, beyond that he's a big bulky guy, is that he appears in random areas, and he also is a time traveler, which Big Joe technically is, and it might not be the same means. Cryo-freezing versus an actual time machine, and I get that Professor B is more of a Back to the Future reference than anything, but I still like to believe, because of how he acts, and like who he is, that he was kind of somewhat of a reference to Big Joe, because yeah, it just works out in my mind that way. If you disagree, that's totally fine. But I like believing that. Don't ruin it for me. But like you'll go through the game, you'll find Big Joe just in a random fucking dungeon or some shit, and like the quest line for Professor B is like the same. It's just like, oh well, I was trying to take the time machine out of here, but I got over here instead, and you know, it's just like Big Joe and Professor B are both clearly multi-talented. You've got this big fucking Anarchy Reigns looking dude, like inventing shit. And that sounds exactly like Big Joe to me. Like, Big Joe was a boxer before he just got lost in time. That's pretty crazy. He's just all over the place. And his jack of all trades nature just makes me think of, like, that's just what I think of is Professor B. And anyone who wants to say anything against that, that's totally fine. I understand, like, this is just where I am. And I'm going to leave it at that because I have really not a lot more to go on. This is just...
And we have a whole lot of
We have a lot
to
extra, and if anyone wants to bring a good argument against that, that's fine, but, it's pretty vague, so whatever. Just know that I like that.
@gmail.com.
I just like that connection, and that's it. That's all I'm going to say. It's fine if you don't like it.
You know what one fear I have is...
Tell us.
I say many things very confidently because I have connections. But sometimes I'm always like a little bit like, what if Takahashi just does an interview one day and he just says something that is completely retroactive, and it's like, wait, what? Like that's not the way something was, and it just completely like I'm really adamant about a specific thing, like a little thing that nobody even cares about, and he just says something like, oh no, it was totally like that the whole time, and I'm just like. It'll probably never happen. It'll never happen. But in the back of my head, I'm always thinking, like sometimes he can't word things correctly. He's not as bad as some other people at Monosoft. Sometimes I always wonder. Like I mentioned the what did I mention? Like the Blanca Rico thing, and he just comes out and says, "Oh, that was never Blanca." Like completely contradicting like other things that exist, like Tanaka and shit saying it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
And then you become a liar.
I personally am
And so does Tanaka. Everyone is wrong after that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally...
Including the guy who drew the character.
I'm kind of okay with that in some ways because I'm like... I have come to really, really like Guilty Gear lately, and a lot of that's just retroactive bullshitting as far as, like, story and plot goes and all that shit. So,
I mean, retroactive, like... I mean, I'm not even okay with that in the context of but I'm talking about, like, retroactive... About, like, actual design intentions.
Yeah. That's fair. I'm just like, if you come out later and say, oh, yeah, that was intended, whether it was actually or
like
not.
Him coming out and saying, oh, yeah, Final Fantasy did fuck Xenogears. Which everyone knows is bullshit, I hope.
Yeah, I think most people do.
But yeah, just that's not true. But like, just little things. It's like in the back of my head. I think I'm just paranoid. You guys know I'm paranoid all the time.
I mean, that's fair.
But and not about this. Just about like Xeno. I guess like fans or something. I don't know. It's a stream of consciousness.
There's a lot of people that draw a lot of conclusions that are, even if nobody ever said it, but especially when they do say it, it makes it worse in some ways. So I totally understand that.
Basically, what I'm saying, I hope Takahashi doesn't entirely become George Lucas, like the way he was with Star Wars.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah,
that's the best. That's the best way to say what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
No, you see, Java was also always supposed to be in this scene.
Anyway.
So the next one is one that I love.
Hammer?
It's Hammer. I don't know why I like it. I just do. Like I think about Hammer, because Hammer in Xenosaga is just... Yeah, he's just part of the Elsa crew, right? He's just kind of there.
Yeah.
And then I think of Hammer and Xenogears, and he's like this weird animal
He calls you
creature.
bro all the time.
And he's like, yeah, he's like weird. Like he looks because so much of Xenogears takes itself so seriously, and then you have Hammer with this design, and he does terrible things.
You have like,
and
sorry.
he has his profile picture is this little fucking weird anime animal.
Bro,
it's like,
you could do it, bro.
Yeah, you have. You have, like, Hammer, the 90s idea of a weed dealer, versus Hammer, the Burger King's Kids Meal protagonist. But they're both named the same thing, therefore connection.
I know on the wiki it says that Xenosaga Hammer looks like an anthropomorphic Xenogears Hammer, and I'm like, you did a bad job anthropomorphizing him.
No, that's a bad call, sorry.
Yeah, that's my take on that too.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Then
Though
there's,
their character designs do have a few similarities, namely the glasses
got
and
the
glasses and the bag.
I mean, he was, it's clearly like
Yeah.
an artist,
Oh yeah.
Nobody even pretty much said it. It's just, nobody's. I don't think anybody needs to be reminded of Hammer.
Oh,
being
actually, whenever I said Hammer on that list, I was actually just referring to the literal hammer on the ship. So, sorry about that.
Oh,
it's all
that's
good.
confusing. You really got to specify which game you mean.
But the next one is confusing to me after Hammer. You guys want to write down? You guys wrote down Robo Girls, and then in parentheses it says Emeralda, Cosmos, Fiora, Poppy, Rosa, Elma, within parentheses Mimizone, and Ziggy.
Yes. What's the problem here?
Ziggy is best robot girl. Okay, the franchise.
Ziggy is are the best robot girl.
I know he's got the thickest boobs in there. But
yeah. And so what's?
Yeah, let's just
Where's the
say that
confusion?
quite a few of us have a thing for Ziggy.
Yep.
I've been waiting for this moment all my life.
Just roll with it, Pure. That's really all I can say.
Who was the one that put Ziggy in the? Because I didn't watch it or listen or whatever. But who was the one that put Ziggy in the waifu and husbandos episode? I mean, he's had to be in there, isn't he?
No, because we could not use player characters.
Yeah, that was a purely
Yeah, it was side characters.
Yeah, we could only
scenes.
use Yeah.
Oh, that rewrites everything.
Although, you know what? You just proved that you listened to the podcast. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
We're
I said I didn't listen to that episode.
Fine.
Yeah,
Fine.
no, that did prove that he
listened-
looked at the titles and nothing more.
I have
okay.
listened to one part of the Love episode, and I always remember that one because somebody specifically mentioned me. It's like, "Oh, Pure's not listening to this; he's going to strangle me." and then I wondered afterwards,
Whoops.
how many times does this happen in this podcast? Like,
It happens a lot.
I say it every episode I'm in. I'm just kidding. I don't. But, it'll probably get close.
I don't. Does anybody have anything to say about Robo Girls? This is pretty obvious.
Yep. That's
Yeah, this kind of
Yeah,
has
those are
back
pretty
into
obvious.
the whole mecha thing where it's just like, they like robot girls, so they include robot girls, the end.
And then I see real Elma's appearance is similar to Cosmos. If you couldn't tell, and with the whole machine she literally walks out of, it couldn't be any more obvious.
Yes, the tanning bed that Cosmos sleeps in.
Yes.
Of course.
Which makes you really pale.
Yeah, the paling bed.
Yeah.
Man, it's weird that we never really saw Telos come out of that.
True.
letting up.
Well, speaking of Elma, the next point relates to her name.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, it's short or alternate name.
Yep,
for
it was the-
Wilhelmina.
Yep, which is the feminine form of Wilhelm. I was actually one of the first things I noticed when Xenoblade X got announced. I saw Elma's name and was like, why does that sound familiar? So then I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's a form of Wilhelmina. And then I looked it up and it said the feminine form of Wilhelm. So right away, before the game even got announced or anything, wasn't like, making connections go, oh, this is Xenosaga or anything, but I had a feeling that she was going to have some omnipotent powers in some case, or some kind of important role, just because of the correlation to the name of a major character from the Saga series. Just from like, oh hey, that's a nice little Easter egg right there.
Yeah.
What if it's not an Easter egg? What if she's like the mastermind?
That would be awesome.
Everything the whole time.
That'd be awesome.
What if I retroactively explained that happened?
Don't get Takahashi ideas. What if he's listening to this podcast and he's about to do that?
And he's just like, everything, I'm gonna just completely contradict every interview I've ever done. I'm gonna contradict everything that's like anything behind the scenes and nobody. He just loses his mind.
He just goes to his writing desk and is like, man, fuck these guys, I'll prove them.
Bro,
Fuck these guys in particular.
Xenogears based on Evangelion.
These random people that don't get paid to talk about my franchise. How fucking dare they?
Let's be nice to Takahashi.
I don't...
Hypothetical Takahashi isn't nice to us, though.
That's hypothetical.
This hypothetical version of Takahashi is just that version of George Lucas. The real one. I'm sorry. The real George Lucas.
The real
Hypothetical
George
Takahashi
Lucas.
is real George Lucas.
No, I don't really want to give Takahashi shit. It's fine.
Alright, next we have Cosmos and Telos in Xenoblade 2. And when you make Cosmos the leader of a merc squad, it's called the Artificer. Which is a giant robot.
How subtle.
I don't get it.
I mean, she's literally a guest character, like a version of hers in the game.
Yeah.
There's no room for subtlety anymore.
No, there's not.
Yeah,
We're
there's
good.
nothing.
Yep.
Which brings you to the next one.
I was going to say, there is something a little bit more interesting about her being in there, which was Cosmos' Blade Quest introduced us to Zeke's second cousin named Estelle, who lives in Tantal, and she takes an interest in Cosmos, and she kind of looks like a younger Xion. But what's kind of interesting about Estelle is that her name, I believe in the Japanese version, they pronounce her name Asteru, which you can kind of interpret as Aster, which is the name of a genus of flower, and the Japanese name for that same genus is actually Xion. So it's literally Xion in the game.
Yeah,
Yep.
the quest was...
I love that quest. This was such a nice wink.
Yeah.
I
It's
just
a nice
really loved it.
little Easter egg for the Xenosaga fans.
Wink.
There's
Yeah,
enough
they
there.
They needed to have a character that was a reference to Xion that would be like, alright, this character thinks Cosmos is really cool. And they, have like the little part where Cosmos kind of like guards her from some bullshit, which is very much like Xenosaga 3. And I always thought that quest was a little weird just because you have this big Xenosaga reference, but they also tried to insert like Xenoblade 2-esque humor into it. And I always thought it was really out of place.
Oh yeah, I remember there was something about like Xion wanting to like take Cosmos' clothes off or something. I was like, oh god, what? Oh.
I want to perform surgery and see what are you made of?
I forgot that was the thing.
But I remember seeing a video, I think it was on Twitter or something, that was like showing like side scenes from some Cosmos' story and Telos's, and back to cutscenes from Xenosaga Episode III, and the cinematography looked almost like exactly the same. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I think in like the start of Cosmos' quest, where like she's just targeting all of the artificial blades, isn't that like a direct reference to when she's on the hull of the Elsa and targeting all the Gnosis?
Yeah, and then when you first get Cosmos as a blade, her getting out of her pod was like when she first awoke on the Wookland Day.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the one with these titles, the Executioner and Endbringer.
Yes.
Yeah. Basically, I think Executioner was for Guinan and Yang, and Endbringer was for Tilache and Malos.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like they reusing the titles for these characters type thing. But that could also be more a localization thing. I don't know if they're different in Japanese.
And the next one was about Nopons and everyone's favorite Xenogears character, Choo Choo.
Hey, you spec Choo Choo right? She will carry you through that last battle.
I said it was everyone's favorite character. I didn't say that.
Just making sure you weren't saying that sarcastically.
You
yeah.
could boil this down to the game set mascots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the one who had it this one because, like, the Choo-Choos, they really look like a pre-Nopon type creatures, and they also, just like the Nopons, they kind of come in different colors and such, and it just reminds me, like, whenever I put both of them, like, next to each other, I'm like, yeah, that could have been a pre-Nopon kind of thing.
I think the only
like-
difference is that Bunny was never playable.
I did not mention Bunny, though, because Bunny is not really anything close to those.
I was talking about mascot-wise.
Mascot,
Oh, okay.
playable mascot in Xenosaga would have been out of place. And two, Bunny actually is sort of an option. So
Wait,
so
really?
Bunny, so there's like filler options you can use when you debug the game, and one of them for a playable slot is Bunny, but it doesn't work.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
I was
The
like,
real question
I don't-
is why... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I wasn't sure if like there was some kind of crazy unlockable in Hackox I missed or something like that, but yeah, that's all I really had. I was just like, I mean, I guess he could be at Hackox, but other than that, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, all I was going to say was that, how come Bunny wasn't in Hackox? Bunny should have been in Hackox.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I could see is like if they made him hop perfectly across the different blocks, because that would, maybe make it easier.
Yes, that would have been your reward for playing that much Hackox. Here,
That's true.
we made it easier for you. You're welcome.
But stay tuned for our mascot episode whenever we get around to recording that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next is basically with Faye and Mithra developing different personalities through trauma. Also, all the protagonists have, they have like dual identities, or different protagonists have dual identities.
Oh, I wrote that. I wrote the wrong.
Okay. Oh, okay. You can. Sorry.
There we go. Wow. Wait, no, I wrote the right tool. Oh, man.
You wrote the right tool.
You had confused me greatly when you fixed it. I was like, what, you trying to say these identities had a duel with each other?
Yeah,
that would be-
What
yeah,
happened?
No, I'm trying to say I can't fucking spell. Leave me alone.
I just kind of tripped over my words. I'm sorry.
No, I thought I wrote it right, and anyway.
Well, you did it.
English is
I
hard.
just-
Give us a break.
But anyway,
Listen, how many drinks in are we?
3 for me, because I'm pausing so I don't have to run to the bathroom every 5 seconds.
Same for me.
oh, we were supposed to drink.
What?
No.
You're sober?
No.
Okay, pause the podcast.
No,
you go
no.
get yourself a drink.
Yeah.
Listen, I am bearing my soul here. I have to drink a little bit.
It's okay.
I'm forever sober. I'm just
I-
drinking water.
That's my
I'm
secret.
drinking a matcha frap. That's for
But
what
anyway,
This
yeah.
podcast brought to you by the concept of alcohol.
Doritos.
But yeah, anyway, there's multiple main characters throughout the Xeno series have like different identities. Besides Faye, Faye has Id, Mithra has Pyra, and beyond that, there's Cosmos and Mary Magdalene, Shulk and Zanza, Elma in her true form, and then go on.
I was just saying, Elma and True Elma aren't really different personalities.
Yeah, no, they're
That's why I said
like
different
bodies.
identities.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're more of a physical, but they're different identities all the same.
Would Torna be the only game that doesn't have that? Like, if you
Yeah.
don't count Mithra,
Yeah, that's not until the end, too. So
Yeah.
Oh, if we're going to start counting other multimedia, Pied Piper doesn't have that.
Zenokami has that. Cosmos and Cat Cosmos.
Cosmos is still in it, so...
I mean,
So, like-
I mean, it does have that. Yeah, because it's Cat
Okay.
Cosmos.
Okay, well
I guess, like-
Torna has big Laura and baby Laura.
Eric, the person we knew versus the person he really was. No, that's not true. That's a stretch.
Alright, let's go to the next one.
Where we have demi-humans.
Yeah, demi-humans. All over I'm just reading this out loud. I didn't write this. This is my first time reading it. All over Gears and Blade has Nopon and High Entia. Blade 2 Gormati. This is written like on like notes.
Oh, this is great.
This is like the only one that's written like
It's
this.
beautiful.
Yeah, this was not meant to be written.
Actually, you
read
know
out
what?
loud.
Actually, Pierre, can I make a request? If you're going to just read something verbatim, can you read the next point verbatim?
Yes,
I will.
do it.
I
This is
will.
an internal
Okay.
argument.
Yes.
You may continue this one, but you definitely have to read the next one verbatim.
All right, I'm gonna reread this one.
Okay, go ahead.
All over demi-humans all over Gears and Blade has Nopon and High Entia. Blade 2 Gormati. Parentheses. I would think that the Blade/Flesh Eaters in Xenoblade 2 were more comparable to demi-humans, says Bot. And then in parentheses, all caps, who said that? Depends on if they're naturally occurring or made in a lab. I compare Blade/Flesh Eaters a bit more to Krellion's Wells. From Nick.
And the two of them are literally right in between you. That's the funniest part.
Yeah, Bot is Robin.
Nope, what are you talking about?
My point was that the demi-humans in Gears are, as far as I could tell, they, like, it was kind of a accident mistake that they occurred, like, they should not occur that way, whereas Nopon and High Entia and Gormati should occur that way. That is a good way for those things to exist. Rico should not be green, however, Melia should have wings on her head. So that's why I felt that the Blade/Flesh Eaters were more comparable to the demi-humans of Gears.
Okay, that's completely fair, but also you're wrong. I was right the whole time. What are you talking about?
Okay, go ahead. Elaborate.
So the reason is because, yeah, that's why.
Okay, well, I can't argue with that, so you win.
Because they have funny animal parts on them. That's why.
They do have
could also-
funny animal parts some of the times.
Jeez.
No,
you could also maybe compare like Xenosaga stuff too, like the URTV maybe.
yeah, that's
Do they
Yeah.
call us demi-human?
I guess.
I mean, they certainly are
Realians.
lab-made.
Realians,
Yeah,
the
and they're not
designer babies. Yeah.
And if you want to go, I guess I don't know what the testaments would count as. I guess they're more like demigods.
I mean, I guess technically, did Wilhelm technically make those? I guess I don't know.
Sort of. I like to think of it as almost like being knighted.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. It's like, well, you died, but you know what? You're real cool, so I guess I'll let you do this.
You're real edgy there, Kevin.
Yeah.
So you get to be the Red Testament.
So
I
like
wanted to
Eric,
be the Black Testament. You guys suck.
Sorry, you're only like 1/10 as edgy as this other guy.
so Eric, you kind of look like Billy Corgan, so I guess I'll let you be on my team.
I love this rewrite of Saga. It's very good.
He's fucking You sounded real edgy.
Shall we move on?
The next
to
one that you guys.
Yes.
No,
Hell, dude.
So
Quiet!
let's see,
I corrected this.
Let's see what this says. I've never read it. I have no idea what it says, so I'm reading this for the first time. All caps. Father, in parentheses, Madhu. Issues are rampant. Faye and Khan. Rico and Kaiser. The three main URTVs, Master and Yuriev. Shion and Suzuki. Shulk and Dixon. Angela Mikal. Ellie and her dad, Eric, have a daddy redemption arc. If we say, quote, daddy, I'm stealing everyone's Easter candy. And Momo Mommy issues.
Well, you all forfeit your fucking Easter candy, so thank Tyler for that.
I'm sorry.
Assuming I had Easter
Listen,
candy.
I corrected the first part to father in all caps. You can't blame me.
Wait, what the? Who just deleted that? I just live right now.
What did
One
you
of them just
just
got
say?
deleted.
Hot editing happening here.
Damn it, Anonymous Badger.
Well,
That damn badger.
Well, a badger showed up and added a point, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll read that one for sure.
But, yeah, having familial issues, again, in a video game, very hot. I don't know that many video games have included familial issues. I think Xenogears was the first one to introduce a family.
Listen, can we move on from this point? I'm getting gross George Lucas vibes.
Oh, we just God. George Lucas is all over this one.
George
We're thinking
Lucas
he's
got
gonna come.
his
We're
fingers in
thinking
all the pies.
Takahashi. You're thinking
See, this was actually a family drama.
We were just. I just literally. All I had to do was say, I really hope Takahashi doesn't come out and like retroactively try to re-explain why he did certain things or what he was gonna do with certain characters, etc. Like George Lucas or some shit. Took me forever to think of the George Lucas part, but now that I've really thought of that name, like that's like the line. I think if he crosses that line, that's when I think I just lose it. I don't even dislike George Lucas, but just the aspect of him doing some of that like, kind of weird shit he did would probably put me over the edge.
Well, I'd sooner have George Lucas issues than J.K. Rowling issues.
See, that was the other name I was going to mention, but I feel like that's pushing it too
I'd
far.
rather not have either, personally.
Oh, I'd rather
Actually, all of the Testaments just kept shitting everywhere and using dimensional magic to make it disappear.
At least George Lucas seems like an otherwise nice guy. You just people just get upset because it's Star Wars, and I always wanted to do this thing with this thing. What are you talking about? And literally everyone else around him is like, the literally entire book's written about Star Wars. Like, no, this was never supposed to be a thing.
Justin,
Anyway.
do you want to take the next point?
Oh, so you guys are done with the family thing already?
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
guess.
guess.
There's not that much to say, I guess. It's self-explanatory.
Yeah, I mean, family issues in an
Daddy
RPG,
issues.
revolutionary. God damn it!
I guess Takahashi and I have some father-son issues. So,
Yeah, and
Tyler,
I
I'm
mean...
going to your house and taking your Easter candy.
No.
So yeah, so I guess I should explain like a little bit about the inside joke for our listeners that Bot does not like the word dad.
You
So,
can say it in
um,
those terms, it's acceptable.
So daddy, so we
Sweet.
correct it to my dude because that was what he changed it to in his search engine.
So should we just censor every time one of us says daddy in a podcast?
Yeah, we could...
Just
I need
put,
to,
like, the dolphin sound over it?
Yeah, I need to go
Yes.
drag Maineth over here so we can have her meow.
anyway, the next point. Would you like me to read the next point?
You sound really
Yes,
excited.
do
about
the
it.
honors to read the next point.
Now, this is a new one. It just popped up in front of me. I don't know who wrote it down. I have no idea, but the next one says, all the games are mediocre.
No, see, my problem with this is that this shouldn't be in the characters category.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
This
So,
should be in system/concepts.
Then go yell at Anonymous Badger.
Badger, you put this in the wrong part.
Yeah, Tyler, why'd you do that? Anyway.
First he says the forbidden word.
I'm being praised.
What, you
So-
mean daddy?
So that's a fact. I'm glad we all agree. Let's move on to the next point.
Okay.
Yeah, alright. Familiar character flavor.
Flavor, huh?
Yes, if you lick Ramses, he tastes the same as Cherenkov.
So like a cherry, right?
Yes, they are both
I-
cherry flavored.
So what is
Mario's
Dixon
tastes like
flavor?
Mumcar.
Like a lot of people really like it, but it's actually kind of disgusting in a way. No, I'm kidding.
Mario's the Mumcar, Shitan to Jin, the Dunman to Morag. Does Morag Run really count?
Well, that's an issue for our Uzuki caricature trope.
And I'm on
issue.
the page of I don't even know if Dunban counts, so
Dunban doesn't act like an Uzuki.
I
as
actually
much.
made an argument for why I felt that Dixon was the closer Uzuki.
Like, okay, so he has the demeanor, maybe, of an Uzuki, but like maybe not the belief system.
Dunban
Guy
just
with a
has
sword.
dark hair and a sword. Yeah, that's literally it.
Yeah.
Bart to Zeke, which I'm totally down for. I actually totally agree with that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, as a parentheses, that he's got the Ember Cake color scheme that gives him the Bart colors. It's like the worst recolor in the game, but
It's hideous,
it's
and
there
I love
for
it.
reference. It's so bad. It looks like he's wearing a clown suit.
I know.
It's real rough.
It's
yeah.
gorgeous.
And then we have Krellian to a Malthus.
I mean, if I'm going to be honest, it's cool that it's referencing Zeke, but it also kind of looks like Zeke wearing a dumpster fire.
Absolutely. He looks terrible in it, but I refuse to remove him from it.
But Corellian to Malthus was one I kind of thought of last minute because of their whole oh, what if I use science to do this dumb weird shit?
Some people like to put Krellian with Kevin.
Probably with Kevin I could see a bit more since
can
they
see
both
that.
have girl issues, but
Yeah.
They're both simps, so I guess.
Yeah, there's
my,
that.
my argument against would be that Kevin did get the girl, whereas Krellian is 500 years still whining that he didn't.
Yeah. Corellian's still tipping that to Fedora.
The
Well, the
mother?
problem is Kevin got the girl and he was still tipping his fedora.
That's true.
Very much so.
Well, I'm glad we went there. Let's move on.
Oh, next category.
All right. Woo!
All right, mech
We can do this.
/mechanical /ship refs. See, that last word is very
Refs?
dangerous. No, the other one, ships.
Oh, that's the second
You see-
to last word.
Oh, not that.
So,
You-
the last word is
You
refs.
scared the shit out of me when I saw ships. Because if you ever
Oh!
do
Oh,
an
no,
episode
no.
specifically on ships, it is the one time I like not the one time, there's plenty of times, but it's the one by far I would steer clear of. It's like I can tell you anything about Xeno, okay? It sounds like I'm bragging, but seriously. But it is the one topic I will always avoid. The scariest thing in the world are ship wars.
You know what?
I
Oh, yeah.
agree.
I'm not.
I agree.
If you say something dumb about Xeno, I will unapologetically call you a dumb fuck. But when it comes to ships, I ain't brave enough for that shit.
Oh, hey,
Yeah,
let me
in
go
the
link
case
a
of
fun
here, we
document
meant
for
like
you, then.
spaceships.
But anyways,
You know what?
There's no way I can pronounce the next
Yeah,
one.
me
Though.
Sorry. Omega
Yeah, go ahead.
metempsychosis. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead, Brielle. Sorry.
You're okay.
No. I want as many people as possible to pronounce this.
Okay.
Oh, this is the title of a Radiohead song. I've heard this.
Omega metapsychosis.
Metempsychosis.
Urea fight. Robots attached to it look similar to Weldhall and Virge. It also is shaped a lot like a deuce. Like deuce! Like
No,
deuce!
not like a deuce! Deus! No, I was just I saw that and was like, wait, is that not the one that looks like
Like
Deus?
Deus, yes.
And
Looks
this
like
is what
Deus.
we took from
That's
it?
what I meant
So
to
I
say.
added that to
Wow.
the end.
I don't know where. Stupid dyslexia. Put an A there.
Man, I love that one that's shaped like a shit.
Like a deuce.
yeah, that whole section is like a reference to like the old mech designs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Zark has a bunch of them, and it's like, oh,
Oh yeah, is that
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, isn't the boss at the end of each orb? Don't they look like various skiers?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
What a downgrade for them, by the way. Just turned into cannon fodder for a dungeon. But then we get Weltall to Omega Id, which, you have the Omega Id bullshit boss fight that I definitely did really unprepared, and I still have the screenshot of how long it took. The single fight, like the in-game time, it was like 28 minutes.
Holy crap!
The first time I did it was like 28 minutes.
He actually, unleashes death blows on your ass. It's crazy.
And apparently, I don't know if this is... I don't remember anymore, because I'm 78. But, do people actually feel that the Voyager fight... I forget what his mech is called, but...
Don.
Oh, down.
Yeah, do people... Is it agreed that boss fight is harder?
You know what? I think so, personally.
I would.
But
I
not-
think in my case, I had more trouble with the Omega ID or ID.
Can I
rather.
go into my traumatic experience real fast? So, a lot of boss fights at that point in the game seemed way harder for me because late in the game I had a slight issue with the Pellegrini in the ES Isakar fight where she wanted to heal about 7 times within the same fight.
Yeah, RNG was screwing him over.
I thought you were going to say the Pellegrini fight, just the Pellegrini fight.
No,
because
the ES
I
Isakar.
busted out Alan for that fight. It felt good.
Oh, that was great. But the Isakar fight later on Abraxas, that one I got fucked over so many times, and it was like I don't know what was going on with the RNG, but I had to repeat that fight more times than any other fight in that whole game.
All right, so you hear that, Namco? The Xenosaga HD remaster you'll never do. You need an achievement if you have Alan out against Pellegrini. You got to make it happen.
They really need to allow Alan throughout the rest of the game.
Urda Kaiser transformation versus Elements Robots transformation. I mean, this one is super obvious. Also, reference to other mecha.
Yeah,
you guys.
Yeah, I always saw that, and I was just like, you know what? That is definitely a nod to Galgagar and just the Brave series in general, and like the way the lion roars. Like Galgagar had been airing for about a year right before Gears came out. I think it ended maybe 1 or 2 weeks before Gears actually came out. So like when I saw that cutscene, I was like, yeah, that's definitely Galgagar. And actually, on that same note, I was reading TV Tropes today, and there was an entry about how Weltall 2's id system is kind of reminiscent of Shining Gundam a bit. And like it just hit me. I'm like, wow, like Weltall may as well be piloted by Domon Kashu. I mean, I never even like thought about that until I read that. I was like, yeah.
People used to think, including Japanese fans, I would say especially Japanese fans, used to think a lot of Xenogears was just a G Gundam ripoff.
Which is silly.
That's funny.
Because it's, of course, Evangelion ripoff.
Look, well, G Gundam came out at quite a bit before
it was a few
Xenogears.
years before.
And look at the last 2 episodes of G Gundam, and then look at the ending of Xenogears.
Yeah.
So apparently there's an interview, and this is what the TV Tropes page said, that somebody had apparently asked Takahashi if he liked G Gundam, and he allegedly just didn't say anything, but he smiled. I have no idea if that's true. Just something I read.
Takahashi said, "I love you," and all.
Yeah, right. But that was
his real
that's
response.
part of where that came from, I guess.
I've not seen G Gundam.
I can't remember because Gundam is such a big influence on him. It's a big influence on everybody.
Yeah.
Over there.
I was gonna say, it's like Gundam. Anyone who makes a mech show is probably influenced.
I would say that, if it's not Gundam, it's probably Macross.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of mech references, I don't think this was written down. I haven't jumped ahead yet. In I think it's chapter 4. What's the Poppy chapter in Xenoblade 2?
The Poppy chapter.
I don't remember the number, but we'll just call it the Poppy chapter.
But there's actually a side story that continues the Poppy chapter, like through a because getting the last form of Poppy is actually a not necessary to beating the game.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that to consider, but other than that, I want to say there was like 3.
Regardless, that chapter with the weird giant robot you fight, that's with Nopon and shit. This scene is one of the scenes is like a shot for shot reference to Mazinger Z.
Oh, you're talking about the Lila one with the Mecha Rosa thing. That I think that's more like 6 or something.
No, chapter 6 was the Zeke or whatever that place is called. Yes, that's chapter 6.
Oh, okay. I may be thinking of 5 then.
I don't think that's 5 either. I think it's 4, 3 or 4. It's earlier. It's not before. It should be before chapter 5 because I remember.
Yeah.
I remember specifically because chapter 5 is when I tapped out and stopped playing the game for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking of I knew it was a little bit later in the game for me, and like I thought which chapter was Morardain? Because like you go through that factory in Morardain, and that's where you fight Mikarosa.
3 or 4.
Right?
I don't remember. No, it's got to be 3 because wasn't 4. Yeah, it wasn't 4 Rex's hometown and stuff.
Yeah, I guess that game is a blur for me at this point as far as chapters go.
Oh, I don't blame you. Anyway,
I mean, I like it a lot. Don't get me wrong, but
you like a Xeno
I think
game? How dare you?
I mean, I hate it a lot, but I talk about it because it can't get out of my head.
You're cursed.
I understand. I'm right there with you. Finally, someone that understands me.
Great. I'm glad we agree.
Anyway.
Alright.
So then there's the life holds, and Xenoblade X are Zohar shaped. That's not to. I don't think. Does anyone actually have something to say about that? Because I don't.
All I have to say is that we skipped over our earlier point about the Zohar shape being a thing that is repeated throughout the series, although it was retconned into Xenoblade 1.
They make / preserve life. There you go. That's the deep read on it.
But in the case of Xenoblade X, it was also put there as a... Basically, like, if you were the kind of player that would explore really far before continuing the story, you could follow those on the map and be like, oh my god, it's a Zohar-shaped thing.
So,
but you had no idea what it was.
Funny story. Shit, wait. The last time I was on the podcast was in July, right?
I think.
Shit.
Chitoki.
Did I not talk about Xenoblade Definitive Edition? Because I keep calling it, to this day I still call it Deluxe Edition.
Actually, I think you were on the podcast for that a bit before the release.
No, it was July. I'm remembering. It was in July.
Okay.
So it was after. But I didn't really talk about it that much, did I?
No, I don't think so.
I think I just said that I played a pre-release version. And
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You said that.
Yeah.
Oh, were you talking about how bad the gas mileage was on the scales? Is that the one?
That was Xenoblade X. That's a beta for that game. That's something else.
Oh, yeah.
This wasn't really a beta. It was just like, it needed one more update. And it's missing that update, so the menus run like shit. No, I was going to say, speaking of the Zohar-shaped bullshit, I remember, I played the game before it came out. And then when I was actually going to replay Xenoblade DE when it came out, I was going to play it on my own Switch, as opposed to the one that was sent to me. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know what happened. I had no will to play it again. So on Xenoblade DE release day, for the first time, I played Final Fantasy VII Remake instead, even though they never actually called it Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Wait, what game? I've never heard of that.
Don't worry about it. It's
obscure, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about this now because I remember people were saying, I'm not going to say who, but it's some people, they have followers and content. And I remember them saying, it's just like Takahashi to try to remake a game so that he can make it more consistent with Xenoblade 2 and shit. And I remember thinking, this is like kind of late-ish, like, well, not late, it was kind of, actually I think it was when the game was first announced, but I remember thinking, that is not why Takahashi ever makes any game. Because I know like what the core of why he makes game is. Once you understand that statement doesn't hold up. So I'm thinking, I don't actually know how the game 100% is going to turn out yet. So I'm thinking, I bet that you're not going to leave that game thinking anything like that. What happened was that the only thing that would kind of make you think that was, they changed the key on, what's his face's, why am I so bad at names?
Alvis.
I'm garbage today. Actual garbage today.
When
I say I came in prepared, I mean I am straight up Cherenkov, Ramses level dumpster. Just need to get out of here. Anyway, they changed the key on this thing. That's the only thing they did. I remember them saying, "Oh, they're gonna change the ending to match Xenoblade 2. They're gonna completely redo it," and it didn't happen at all. And I just remember thinking, like, this should have been the expectation, and it never happened. And I just kind of think back to that one comment. I'm just thinking, man, what a predictable mess that was.
That whole thing just kind of like reminds me of the scene where the Simpsons movie where the kid laughs at Bart naked. Just that kind of laugh going on right there.
I remember there was also a semi-viral post of people saying the differences between remakes, remasters, and ports, and they put Xenoblade DE in the remake section with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Whew. Boy, oh boy.
Oh, man.
I'll give, now that I've said that, I'll give DE a little bit of credit. It's a competent remaster. It might be Stockholm Syndrome because I played Warcraft 3 Reforged, the worst remaster of all time. So
I remember seeing your tweets about that.
I can't speak much because I don't like Warcraft, but
I'm traumatized. Okay, that is a bad remaster. It is. I'm not gonna turn this into the bad remasters podcast. It's not a bad remaster; it's just a bad game.
I feel like Matt McMuscles will eventually cover that.
He did.
As far as
Long. Didn't he cover it right away?
He covered Warcraft Remastered, I know, but I was like, I don't think that. I mean, he mostly does bad games or games that didn't turn out quite the way they were supposed to. So I don't think any Xeno things are.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Warcraft 3. So why would he? Yeah, he has no reason to cover. And I don't. He doesn't seem like he's a Xeno guy.
No, he doesn't. He did cover Warcraft though.
Yeah,
that's why I
remember
brought him
seeing that too. Just nothing new for me was there, but it was good to see someone release the vitriol that I felt after seeing it.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that.
Let's talk about elevators.
Yes!
This is why I was avoiding this, because I knew the next one would just be, let me read this out loud. Every game seems to love really weird giant elevators. This is an entry. I don't have much to say about it.
Wait, you're not reading all of it, though.
Yeah,
Please
you
go
got
on.
more than the sentence. That's amazing.
I know. See the Thames corkscrew elevator. The Krelevators, diagonal elevators in Krelling's lab. The World Tree is a giant elevator. The Cathedral Ship, Fifth Jerusalem, Babel Tower, Lifehold Core, etc.
Okay, so just give me this one because it was my dumb, stupid, whatever entry. Because I was like, man, look at all these giant elevators. They must really like elevators in these games. And that's pretty self-explanatory. I just wanted to say it because it was, it was there.
It is a good way to try to make your dungeon epic.
Yeah, it is that. It's like, hey, I like tall things. Let's go up the tall thing, I guess. I don't know why they ever felt the need to make the elevator so, fucking extra in the Thames or the Thames or whatever you call it.
Thames.
Okay, so, the reason I say that in the first place is because Retrograde Amnesia podcast, go listen to that, talking about the origin of the Thames and it really being supposedly supposed to be pronounced as the Thames, but yeah, for some reason they have a corkscrew elevator that a drunk guy operates, and I can support that, but at the same time it's like, why go to this length? And also I get very disoriented in this area because of that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we're going to go by the origin of the Thames, it should be the Tamets, so it would fit in with the other towns that were named after the Hebrew calendar.
That's true. Then there's everybody's favorite elevator, the multitude of elevators in the Babel Tower, which,
there's one.
No, there are multiple, and they are floating platforms that people.
Oh, those ones! Those ones are great.
I wish the platforming segment was cancelled and was an elevator instead.
Those elevators may actually be robots that are enemies that you have to fight, but they're still elevators in my book.
I had no problem
elevate
with
you to a
Babel
higher
Tower,
level.
and I don't know why all y'all scrubs do.
Listen, Babel Tower was okay.
Exactly, it was fine.
I got blocked on Babel Tower for months, okay? Because I could not get past that stupid platforming segment.
I'm with you, Marion. I'm with you.
I think I fell more times than I can count. I had to restart the whole platforming segment so many times because I would always fall down.
You should have used the P-Wing.
It's almost like Xenogames are not very good.
And
no, I don't think so. That's probably not the problem.
Why couldn't Faye jump like Mario?
Okay, Monolith Soft should not make any platformers. Got it.
Okay, I say that as if the platforming in Mario RPG was any better, but honestly, let's be honest. Let's be honest, Mario RPG 11 Legend of the Seven Stars was not good at platforming.
I don't know if I agree or not. It was okay.
This episode is too hot.
You didn't have to redo it too much if you fucked up. So it was
it's not like
That's
something like
true.
Landstalker.
Listen, just don't put platformers on an isometric view. Please stop that.
Alright.
You know, Super Mario RPG probably has more Evangelion references than Xenogears.
That's probably true. I can agree with that. And I say, I'm talking shit about Mario RPG, but I love Mario RPG. In fact, the Mario RPGs in general are probably some of my favorites. So,
Well, let's talk about another
I
RPG.
take the card to be allowed to talk a little shit about this.
Sorry, I failed that.
Now I see another entry. Final Battle with Deuce is like Aim's arc.
Yeah, I don't know with that one. I'm
That
not sure
was
what
me.
to say about it.
Yeah, because of the 4 orbs. Just like...
And then there's I'm sorry, I've read that wrong. There are a lot of whale-shaped objects in the series. But then this is a JRPG, so sure. Notably, the white whale from Xenoblade X works on multiple levels, though. Carrier Gnosis, Raya, etc. You're not going to name the whale from Nokia and showing him Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, those
That's
aren't in
my
the Xeno series.
Hey, I wrote etc. So yeah, if you want to connect
Why?
other things, that's open for you to do.
Great
that.
Joe's alternate incarnation is one of your allies in Kingdom Hearts.
Right.
Oh shit, it's all the same. Every game is actually one giant game.
What was the other thing? He had another line. I know. Soul Crusher is most infamous. But what was his other line?
Oh shit! I can't think of it.
I guess because everyone just used Soul Crusher. He's just like oh.
Should we pull up a
Sora.
YouTube video of the fight?
Sora, take a look at the Soul Crusher.
Gee, Mickey, what about that there Soul Crusher?
So, I don't know how you record those lines and not think. No, this just sounds like Goofy, dude. It's so. Oh god.
Nice work,
All
guys.
right.
Oh.
Yeah,
On the next
we're on
subject.
Yes.
All right, system and concept refs. Slave generators, as well as hinted at connection with DM engine and scales being similar in description.
Was this?
I'm gonna-
Never mind.
This was one of
I'm
Chris's.
gonna take this one as instead of making a different kind of device for most of the series, they just continued reusing old assets because why change it if it's not broken? Or
And could they have at least named it something different?
Yeah.
But okay.
but it was probably like, oh hey, these are kind of similar and probably used everywhere. We can get away with this. We don't have to rewrite this.
Like basically, hey, there's a parent generator, and then all of these basically Wi-Fi connect.
Yeah.
To that.
Did they mention
Main generator,
Child.
secondary generator.
Basically.
Yeah,
Did
parent and
Did
child.
they also
main and
mention
secondary.
the slave generator and the siren box? Is that where they mentioned it for Xenoblade 2?
I believe it's mostly the DM
Mhm.
engine. I don't know if that.
Okay.
I can't remember for sure, but I know that the DM engine is the main thing mentioned.
And now I see Ye Shall Be As Gods from Xenogears, Xenosaga, and hinted at in Xenoblade X. I have a question about the hinted at part. You're talking about the password that matches.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
that
same
probably.
Alma
part.
enters at the beginning.
Yeah, I think so.
That's
I'm not sure how much.
conjecture, but I
Yeah,
mean,
it's-
sure.
It's
why
just
not,
it's
I guess.
reused.
That one's a stretch. It's like a widely accepted stretch.
It's a headcanon.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a bad headcanon, but it feels like a headcanon.
Oh, it definitely does.
Okay.
But
It's just things we're all just noticing. Oh, we saw that happen in this game. Oh, we saw this one happen in this one. Oh, it happened in this one too. Okay.
Hey, there is sometimes word of creator is as good as any fan fiction in my opinion.
As we mentioned in the beginning, this is a good chunk of this is pure speculation. So.
And sometimes the fan fiction is actually better.
Wait, a good chunk of this is pure as what?
No,
did you say?
No, I
Pure conjecture.
Is pure as conjecture,
Spe-
not
speculation.
pure conjecture.
It's fine.
Okay. Oh, so I thought you were saying no. All right.
Oh,
All right.
Sorry.
I'll let you
Wording.
retroactively re-describe your intentions there.
Wording.
It's all right. So the next
Phrasing.
one, Anima Relics and Vessels of Anima. We kind of covered this one with the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We can't skip that.
Yeah, we did talk about how literally these things are powering mechs and shit, and you guys did discuss, other things regarding it. I think, I don't know, I'm 78, I can't remember anymore.
We got it.
The Fog Beast encounter effect. I'm sorry, the Fog Beast counter effect being similar to the Hilbert effect.
I mean, isn't that every Monado power though? Like, oh, we can't harm these things. Monado power. Now we can harm these things.
It is.
Yeah,
yes.
like Monado Purge.
Well, some of them are those things can harm us. Now they can't.
The Fog Beast stuff in Future Connected is similar to Gnosis, but it's Takahashi likes to have foreign enemies kind of feel like there's something about them you're helpless to. So a lot of it probably comes from that sort of design concept.
I kind of understand the whole thing of having an enemy that is like, it seems impossible for normal people to interact with until you have like the hero that has a particular MacGuffin that allows you to interact with that in a meaningful way. So that I can see on that level for sure. And that, I mean, that's prevalent throughout all of this in a way, but maybe not Xenoblade X, but...
Following those undamageable enemies, their theme of people being turned into monsters of some sort is a returning theme. Wells and Gears, Gnosis and Xenosaga, Face Mechon / Telethia / Possessed Fog King creatures / Flesh Eaters and Xenoblade 2 / Infected Realians.
You are
I like how you have to specifically say the ones with the blades.
I would argue that the Flesh Eaters
it was okay
in this category.
I meant to look up their names earlier, and I forgot to finish doing that, but it was which I didn't write this, by the way, just to say. I didn't write this part, but I know the name started with an
A. Also,
then there's the...
Go on.
No, go ahead. I was about to change something.
I was just going to say infected URTVs, but that's it.
Oh, yeah. And there was the 2001 A Space Odyssey Planet Camera Shot.
I was going to argue that was a lot of parts.
I mean, that's the point. There's it's like in several games.
Reoccurring homage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cinematography is kind of hard to...
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to pinpoint everything that it's like, oh, I was inspired by the cinematography. It's literally just the fucking way you hold the camera.
No, the camera shot is like exactly the same.
I would. Actually, one of my biggest complaints about the first Xenosaga is that it's definitive evidence that Tetsuya Takahashi is most certainly not Stanley Kubrick.
How dare
even
you.
if he tries. The planet alignment plan we often see, Xenogears / Xenosaga in particular, had also a ring around the planet, which seemed to be present in Xenoblade 1 and 2 planet. Before it was wiped / changed by the quote Zohar reaction, Xenoblade X has a plan in the opening. Is plan or pan?
Planet alignment, I assume it's short for.
Oh, okay. Opening, that makes me think of this too, but there isn't a ring around the Earth on this one.
Yeah. I was the one who wrote this. Sorry if it's a bit it's just basically it's just I saw something mentioning like Xenogears opening at some point, and not Xenogears, Xenoblade X opening, and then I saw that plan, and then it reminded me of like this particular type of plan kind of coming back, and then I got reminded of like the ring kind of returning a bit in some sort of shape. Like you have a ring around planet Xenogears, but then at the end of Xenosaga 3, you kind of see a bit of that ring around the planet in the distance, and Xenoblade 1 and 2, whenever you see the old planet of before everything got kind of warped around with the Zohar-like thing, Conjuri.
I see.
Like, there was this ring of, that seemed like more a satellite type station ring all around the planet type thing, it feels like. But it was still kind of like a concept that was returning, so I thought it would be good to mention it. But then, in the case of Xenoblade X, it was more like you had this similar plan that also appears in Xenogears Xenosaga, where you're kind of aligned with the moon and the planet and stuff, and you have the light of the sun in the distance type thing in the opening. So yeah, I was just making reference to that mostly.
I can see where that would kind of connect on the Xenoblade thing, where you just basically walk through it's like, oh, at the end of the game, oh, here's this planet, oh, here's this planet, here's this planet.
Yeah.
That kind of connecting on that level.
I don't think they're necessarily the same planets, but like they do bring back some similar things. And the ring is one thing that comes back pretty often around the planet.
I'll kind of file that under the environmental similarities.
Yeah, I guess it could have been there. It's just my mind just went like haywire when I wrote this point because there was a few things I mentioned.
No, you're not wrong. Like there is there are multiple instances of.
It's kind of environmental and concept at the same time. It's kind of a mix of both, but yeah.
Yeah, they'll have like a camera shot that makes it look like certain planets are aligned in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So
then the next one is 500 years is the go-to time gap.
Yeah, it's just used really often.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's like his basis for like, I guess any longer or any shorter is like not. Doesn't really work with the way he structures his stories. It's kind of what I was getting.
Sometimes 100 years is just a little too short. It's like, no, you might still have ancestors that remember that.
I mean, yeah, I'm almost 100 years old, so I'm turning 79 in January.
I'm going to use that excuse for everything that I forget.
That you're turning 79?
Pretty soon. Yes, exactly.
Hey,
you got it right.
Come on, there's people that have met me from my server. They know.
I'm not doubting you at all.
Who would lie about their age on the internet?
It's still a good excuse, regardless of if it's true or not, is all I'm saying. So,
the Reclaimers were called Testament in the Japanese version of Xenoblade X. Yes, I actually still think of them as Testament when I think of Reclaimer.
Yeah, that was a localization thing. And I remember there was people, because you always have people who complain about localizations. I remember there was quite a few people who were pissed about this.
Yeah, I was upset because I was thinking about making an albedo and putting into Testament. No.
You still could have.
No.
No, I can't now. How dare you say that?
Okay, sorry, you're right.
It's okay.
There's a God-forsaken sky, Utopia. Elysium, Solaris, Chevet, Rennes
Rennes Chateau.
Rennes Chateau, yeah.
That's just another environmental one, basically. It's just like, hey, there seems to be a theme of how many of these things is like, oh, they're so great, and then you get up there and like, oh, this is shit. This place fucking sucks, man. What the fuck is this?
Rennes Chateau, did they ever say Rennes Chateau is a great, wonderful place, or did they just say it's a thing, and it's flying?
No, but Margulis is like, this is the sacred land, and I'm like, that's good enough for me.
See, I heard it was sacred, and I'm like, that place is gonna suck.
He didn't ever say it was a shithole directly.
No, but, I mean, he likes a real old religion. If it's a sacred place in a real old religion, it's gonna be old and shitty.
You know what? The point is, it's real important to a lot of people, and, like, on the same note, like Solaris and Elysium were like so fucking mystical and legendary that it was like, oh, maybe that's like a hopeful, if we're lucky, ever wish to get there kind of place, is all I'm saying.
Look, man, all I know is that if I existed in the Xenosaga world, I'd be Team Argulus, man. I'm Team Heinlein. It's Heinlein's Wilhelm. And Wilhelm was right.
I mean, at least you got some shit to go on.
So, High Entian versus Solarian classism and love of flying cities. That's a fucking Star Wars thing.
Yep.
And there's the ending of Xenoblade 2 being the same freaking thing, this is the way it's written, not me, or almost as Xenosaga 1. Replace the Elsa with Azurda, and there you have Xenosaga.
I like how
That's
the only
target.
different. Like, every other character was the same. The only problem
Dude.
was Elsa versus Azurda.
Yes. Wait, you mean you didn't have, like, Cosmos on top of Azurda?
Yeah, dude, they literally, them, like, in the ocean, the fucking sunset looks exactly the same. They literally made it look the same. They even had
I'm the
two
one who
characters
brought this
appear.
one.
The two characters that stood behind appear, which wasn't even the original ending of that game. They, like, changed it, and they made it look more like Xenosaga.
It's great.
No, it's not great.
It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad. And
That's
why I
right,
love it,
Xeno
because I
is
like
bad. You love Xeno because it's bad.
I eat garbage.
Garbage is
Trash
good.
and ate garbage. That's Nick.
I eat garbage.
Then the last one is Nanomachine, son.
son.
Elmerala, the Cloud Sea, Realians, which is iffy, but you can actually still use Xenosaga. I'll get to that in a second. And environmental bugs. Xenosaga, a lot of the basic things that you do that come off as magic are typically nanomachines.
Nanomachines are just future magic.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
Nanomachines are an easy way to explain.
I was just about to say,
like
it's
terraforming planets.
Yeah.
It's
the
pretty
easy way out.
harmless. Yeah, it's
Like,
harmless
if you-
though.
like-
I don't mind it.
We brought up Warcraft earlier, so I'm just going to mention that everything in StarCraft is fucking space magic, so...
Yeah.
Alright, so I guess we're getting to the next section on game mechanics.
Enemies that you can't damage by normal means.
Oh, we kind of
like
touched on that
Gnosis,
already.
Faced Mechon,
Yeah.
and the Fog King. I mean, you could just beat the shit out of Gnosis, though. You didn't need to use mechanic.
It's just
story.
basically like, oh, well, the Hilbert effect already happened.
Damage them, though.
Because you have to do a stealth section first.
Oh,
That's about
God, you're right. I forgot
That's
about that.
stupid. Goddamn, you have to play tag with the people, and then you have to run around
And you
That's
have to
bad.
run at the speed of a turtle.
Yeah.
away from the gnosis.
By the way, you know the girls that you use on the projector to distract the Gnosis, which I can't believe that works, by the
Me
way.
too.
Yeah.
Did you know in the Japanese version they're called the Spice Girls?
Are you
No
kidding
way.
me?
Oh my
Oh,
god!
really?
Yeah.
I thought that was supposed to be the
That's
Seraphim
what.
sisters.
That's the
That's-
translation
that's English.
change.
Wow.
Ah,
I never knew that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
that's a confirmed JoJo reference.
Excuse you. She was
Except
spicy
for it's
lady.
actually...
Okay, now I need a fan art of Captain Matthews going to see the Spice Girls.
Well, see, now I'm upset because I could have just gotten a Spice Girl shirt for my very lazy Matthews cosplay.
So we'll get to the next one right away. So, in Gears Saga Blade X, you can in and out of a robot mid battle. Again, there's another one I forgot. I forgot that you can get out of your mech in Xenosaga 1. I was like, wait a minute, that's not true. No.
Yeah, you can get out if you want to get fucked, basically.
In Xenosaga 1?
I don't know. Those
No, in Xenoblade, or in Xenogears, sorry, shit.
Yeah. Okay, because in Saga 1, if you're in your robot, you're gonna get fucked.
No, in Saga 1,
What?
those are only really good for speedruns.
No, yeah, it's like, in Saga 1, if you get into your robot, you're
Yeah.
fucked there, but...
Or you spent too much money on something that's not that good. Then there's Boost. Boost is in Xenogears and Saga, but acts slightly differently. Break status. Break is a status effect in both Saga and Blade. I believe Break is only in 3, right?
Yes.
I
Was it in
think
2?
so.
I
No,
don't remember
No, I
too
think-
well enough.
Actually, yes, I think it was
wait,
in 2.
Break
It just
in
was
2.
really hard to do.
Yeah, because
Oh,
zone
right.
break.
Break is in 2.
Yeah, 2 didn't have the
Yeah.
bar. Like, yeah, I'm thinking of 3. 3 has like a fighting game as stun bar.
Yeah.
2, you had a different.
Yeah, 2 is
A,
like
B
you can.
combo or.
Yeah, you do the zone
It's
break
like
with
low,
with
mid,
that
or
too.
high break.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2 you had
2
to
was
hit
like
the
trying to figure
weakness
out
multiple
quantum physics.
times. Yeah.
Where low break was essentially the nut shot.
Mhm.
So Xenoblade X mechs use fuel for moving / attacking in Xenogears, like in Xenogears / Xenosaga 3.
Though in Saga 3,
No,
don't they like...
Xenosaga 3 was more,
No. So Saga 3, each turn your fuel
Yeah.
basically refreshed,
Yeah.
but you've got fuel to use
Mhm.
per attack. Like you could use multiple attacks in a
Yeah,
turn.
it's based on that. Yeah, how much it uses.
Mhm.
Charging mechs happen in some way in every game featuring mechs. You made that sound like in every game, as in every game ever created.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I feel like
Yes.
charging is vague enough that probably...
Wait, come on. Have you played Chibi?
No,
Yeah,
I
Of
haven't.
course it does. You always charge
Yeah.
your mech.
Nagi can perform Blossom Dance.
That is a Xenoblade Cross reference.
You mean a Xenoblade 1 reference in Xenoblade? X.
Yes, sorry, yeah. Exactly
Uh,
that thing.
Full Metal Jaguar can learn Stream Edge.
Yeah, if you have that
Same as
class,
above.
you can
Wait, what?
learn to stream edge art.
Oh yeah. The class can learn that art. That seemed like a completely incomprehensible mess unless you know what the game is.
Now,
But yes,
now we're at the last section.
Yep.
Oh,
The first one, it's called Accessory / Others Refs. And the
Yeah,
first
because
one,
it started with accessories.
listen. I just want to say that we really tried to organize this. It was actually really
it was a
hard.
mess.
Well, the first one here.
I just
is-
want to say that normally we don't read the docs verbatim.
The first one here is the Sword of Legendariness, which I actually really like that reference. I thought it was
Yeah.
very
It's a good
cute
reference.
for a
It
side
was very
quest.
cute. Yeah, little.
There's a side quest in Xenoblade Cross where to help out the Nopon you have to find the Sword of Legendariness.
So I forgot to list this one, but I actually just kind of want to mention it if we got a chance here.
What's that?
You guys good for that? So, there is a side quest related to the Definians, and it features a, like, I forget what they actually call it, but it's like a mother computer type thing
Mother.
that guides the Definians, which are the shape-shifting people in the shape-shifting alien people in Xenoblade Chronicles X. And that particular computer, one, likes to boss you around, but two, it looks like a orb with screens, like holographic screens floating around it, which I feel like is a reference to the Gazel / Gazelle ministry, however you want to pronounce that. It just, like, that's the closest thing I can think of that looks like that. And I just now thought to mention that.
That's fine.
But yeah.
Also, the Sword of Legendariness looks like a tiny version of the Monado.
Yeah, that's the most obvious part of the joke. It looks like a Monado if you are like a
Nopon.
3'5" mediocre cosplayer.
3'5" mediocre cosplayers are generally called children on Halloween.
You know what? I'm going to make one argument to that. Children don't sew quite that well. Usually.
Mediocre.
Like when I was a kid, I was the Grim Reaper, and I look fucking sick. Okay?
It was great.
They don't make cosplays like they do in 1950.
Well, I was going to say, it's probably easier to scare people back then.
Oh yeah, people were terrified of Dracula when that first came out in 1931, and it's so fucking tame. It especially compared to what we have now. Like, wait until you guys see Jaws or some shit. You know, it's just to ramp up from there. It just gets weirder until you get to like Friday the 13th, where the joke is literally how violent it is.
I mean, I grew up in the 90s, and Jaws was still pretty scary back at that time.
It's pretty intense, but at the end of the day, it's a fucking shark.
Yeah,
Sharks are cool, man.
Yes, they are.
they are.
Speaking of
Queenie
Speaking of the
can-
Monado, we have Lynn's Monado hair clips.
Yeah, they're super cute.
Yeah, but that was kind of a tease though, because like she's got those hair clips and it's like never mentioned at all.
It's just a little.
It's literally just a
I
little
mean,
Easter egg.
Yeah.
what would they say
Yeah.
about it?
Yeah, it's
I mean,
a reference. But
still, so you know.
still, it's just kind of like okay.
I felt that of all the series, Xenoblade Cross had the most references that were just references. It was just, hey, remember this? Cool, it's here. And that's it.
Well, the life hold is like a similar concept to like the origin of humans in Xenogears on the planet.
Mhm.
So that's like a more than just it's like a nice concept, like idea. Well, I call it nice, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
So Xenoblade 2 to Xenogears reference. This is not my wording, so be careful. I don't dare use the word subtle most of the time. So one more subtle ref that was pointed out before was how one of the battle screen with the fight of Zeke and Pandora was the same as Xenogears glass shattering.
That's Pandoria.
Yeah, I did a
it's
typo
written-
there. I'm
it's written
sorry.
in Pandora.
No, it's written Pandora, but I was like, that's supposed to be Pandoria? I just want to point out.
Yeah, I did a typo there. I'm sorry.
Now I have
So
a theory that I can't completely confirm because I've never really asked anyone about this, like at the company or anything, and I feel like they wouldn't directly know. I think Zeke's more of a Final Fantasy reference.
Oh, really?
Especially, he feels like a Cloud reference. He's like a parody of Cloud and Nomura. Because he has, if Nomura drew Zeke, you would call him the most stereotypical fucking Nomura design of all time.
I can
Now-
see that. The giant sword really
And his
sells
belts. He's got belts everywhere. Edgy
That's
black
funny
jacket.
because there are
But then
three
he-
characters that are drawn
his-
by Nomura in the game.
Right. Which also fuels the idea that maybe it was like a wink and nod. It was like, hey, we're just gonna make this just because we're gonna make him like this and it'd be funny. But the other thing is the glass shattering is like a sort of a cliche RPG thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And the other thing is his ultimate attack where he like leaps into the air and does like a slash downward, literally just like the end of the Omni Slash.
Yeah, it does. You do have a point there.
Also,
But in the case of the glass shattering, it was the only fight in Xenoblade 2 that kind of had this, and because he had the eye patch and stuff, that's why a lot of people, I think it's kind of a reference to Bart.
It could have been kept in mind. Who knows?
You would
But
have to compare
there's one
the
more
two
thing that feels
screens.
very Cloud.
Yeah.
There's one more thing that feels very Cloud, is that every time you end a battle and Zeke is in your party, he literally does a twirl with this big-ass sword and puts it behind him.
True.
It's the exact same animation. So he has all these things that are like, this is Super Nomura, and it's very FF7. It's like, that's a lot of coincidences. It's very strange. But maybe it's just me. I don't know. I've never seen anyone else bring that up.
I can see it.
Yeah, I've just seen a few fans bring it up, and I remembered it. I was like, yeah, that's true. That was kind of a
I
reference
think
that
I
some
saw
people
somebody
have taken
try
note
to
of.
take a screenshot of Zeke in front of the Moradane Palace, and they kind of framed it like the FF7 cover.
Oh my god. That's actually kind of funny.
Wow.
Now I see enemy similarities throughout the series. Some Gnosis bear similar shapes to Mechon. Xenoblade X enemies, especially Chimeras. Chimeras are similar to Gnosis. There are a lot of abominations throughout Xenogears that look like Gnosis. Wells, corrupted realities, etc.
Which I think just, again, falls in the category of one artist will produce work that kind of looks similar to other artists. Or to themselves, not other artists. Just them.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful image.
Damn.
I knew I saw that somewhere.
System damaged! Shutting down functions!
Ladies and gentlemen, some explaining to do. Now, Nick has some memory issues. He won't be here with us anymore. Hopefully he will recover what he's recorded. If not, you have already realized that this is a very different episode from what we've actually been hearing. So we're going to finish this list. And, so the next one was, in Xenoblade X, there is a collectopedia item that's a totem of two robots fighting. It's a Xenoblade 1 reference, if you can tell. Nobody has anything to say about that?
No,
No,
I mean,
I think it's
there's not really
humorous.
much to say
Yeah.
about it. It's like, there's an item, it's a reference.
Robots fighting.
Clap.
Here's a figurine.
Little callback,
There
yeah.
you go.
Mia will say, sorry, you're not really feeling it at the end of battle sometimes if you have the Adam Howdam cross voice in reference to Shulk's really feeling it. Zeke also states that he too is really feeling it. I hate this meme, by the way.
Yeah, but it is there. I'm sorry, you're not really feeling the meme.
I'm really feeling it!
I feel like Smash really
Doesn't-
made
I
it
think-
worse.
Yes,
I
it
think
did.
one of the voices says something. One of the cross voices says, "I'm really feeling it," and then he questions why he said it. I don't remember which one it was anymore.
Possibly, but I did remember the bit with Mia.
Yeah, Tatsu refers to the humans as hum friends. When called out on this, Tatsu says he has no idea and winks at the camera.
It was at the end of one of the last missions where he refers to everybody as his hum friend, and then Lynn goes, "What are you talking about?"
And the very last one I see here, Poppy QT. Oh god, yeah, I
Pie.
forgot this is her fucking name.
Yeah.
Poppy Cutie Pie's nano orange color scheme is similar to Emeralda's color scheme.
Which also I was going to add that I just realized or forgot to add, but Poppy Cutie Pie's like the quest to like get her, it kind of felt reminiscent to getting the grown up Emeralda in Xenogears. Forgot to mention that.
Yeah, that she wanted to grow up to... Well, actually, with Poppy Q, or Poppy, she wanted... She actually didn't really say anything. Tora was like, I want her to grow up alongside me, so she needs to be an adult. Whereas Emeralda's just like, I don't want to be a burden anymore, so I'm going to be an adult now. Difference in agency.
Should probably also mention that Mia has Mia's color scheme in one of the alternate outfits too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Reference. So, okay, go ahead and mention that.
So, I think
Yeah.
we made it to the end.
We
did.
did it!
We did it. And it
Oh,
only
boy.
took us over 3 hours.
After being away from Xeno for so long and having it completely out of my mind, man, I feel like I did a shit job.
Oh, don't.
Well, okay, well, 22 of those minutes are wrestling.
So a little over 3
Yeah.
hours then, we could say that.
Okay. I may or may not turn this into a two-parter. I will find out during the editing process.
Sounds
Nice.
good.
That's it. The end of the episode. Thanks for everybody for sticking around. Wow.
It was a wild ride.
Yes,
It
it
was
was.
a wild ride.
I think it's getting late and we're
This
stuttering a bit.
episode was a mistake.
just to keep the audience in the know, well, at least Eastern time, it's almost midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been. We started recording about 8, but there's gonna be a lot of this that's gonna be cut, so you guys won't have to, unless I throw it into the
Bloopers!
brain fart.
Bloopers?
Bloopers.
Outtakes.
This is the part where you ask us about our social media and then say having a day or
Yes.
something.
All right. Well, since you brought it up, Pure, is there anything you'd like to share at the moment?
You can follow me at Burning Aegis. If you listen to me on previous episodes, you know I'm working on some stuff. I know it's taking a while. The world has been melting, so it happens, but it'll come eventually. So you can just follow me at Burning Aegis on Twitter, and you'll stay updated. And that's all I gotta say.
All right. How about you, Justin?
I really don't have too much. Sometimes I come up on Retro Roulette streams, and really I am working on 2 reviews. There's been one I've been kind of falling behind on, and then another game that I'm reviewing now. I got the new Umihara Kawase game, so I'm going to be reviewing that, and hopefully getting that out very soon. So yeah, hopefully that'll be out by the time this episode is up.
Nice.
Otherwise, that's about it.
All right. How about you, Mary?
I don't have much considering all cons are cancelled, but I am doing some upgrades, multiple upgrades to my cosplay room, and it's gonna turn out really great. And aside from that, I'm mostly playing video games, and I'm currently in the Trail series, and I really, really love it so far. Pretty much it.
Okay. Brielle.
I don't really have that much to say either. I guess you can feel free to follow me at QB Draws on Twitter. That's really about it. I'm taking a break from social media, actually, so that's the only place I'm posting.
Okay. All right. How about you, Robin?
You can follow me at NihilismBot, one word, and the O is a 0. Also, there's a nihilism, hyphen bot. That's not me. That's an artist. They're pretty talented, but they're not me. So don't ask them weird questions about Dixon. They'll be confused.
Bot, you are a talented artist.
You are.
Compliments, my weakness.
All right, and then Nick,
Anything you want us to repeat for you?
You can type. You can. Oh, okay, I guess.
Nick sometimes posts stuff on Twitter at Nickelberg.
Don't follow him.
Don't follow him.
All right. As for me, I've been working a lot of overtime this week, so I'm kind of slacking on a lot of stuff.
I hear that.
So I haven't really been doing anything too creative. But anyway, as far as future episodes go, I don't know what's next. I don't think we've really decided.
The holiday special.
What?
The holiday special, I guess.
Yes,
That would be the next one.
Yes, please send us your fan fictions.
Yes, as we mentioned earlier in the episode, we are doing a holiday special where we will read on an future episode any fan fiction you send us. Well, not any. Please don't send us anything that's insensitive to any groups of people or anything like that. But yeah, just
What if it's insensitive to Xeno fans?
That's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not a protected group.
Okay.
Yeah, and word limit is 7,000 words. And yeah, just send it to.
If you go over by a bit, it's
yeah,
fine.
No worries. So yeah, and don't worry if it's bad. We encourage and love bad fan fiction here.
Indeed, we do.
So the worse, the better.
If you want to just get blackout drunk and then slam your face into the keyboard and send us the result, that counts.
Yes. Yeah, just send it to XenoChatPodcast@gmail.com. And now that I'm saying this, I have no idea if I'm going to have this episode up in time, so we'll see, but I hope so. But yeah, thank you again for everybody. Also, thank you guys for joining me, along with thank Owen, Chris, and Feeny for helping us with this doc. And thank you, Mary and Nick and everybody else that helped organize the doc. This was a huge undertaking, and I'm glad you were all here to help me out with it.
Yeah, we took a lot of time today to just go through the doc, had stuff that had not been mentioned, and try our best to separate it in categories, because at first it was just a huge blob of text that was unreadable, so we just tried to make it a bit more organized so that we could see it a bit better as we went.
Alright, well, have a good night, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
See ya!
Take it easy.
Later, folks.
Daddy!
I need another drink on that note, so, yeah. But,
Well, on that, if you're gonna go get a drink, I'm just gonna go share a fun document.
No, luckily I brought them in the same room as me.
Nice.
I'm still gonna share a fun document. If this thing will stop telling me that I'm signed in as an account that I'm not signed in as.
Oh shit, my alarm's going off.
Well, speaking of
Yes,
like,
but
Also, I
how
could be
scary
lying.
ships can be, I remember I said how I didn't like Shion and Alan together, and then like 2 years later, someone replied on that tweet.
I
like,
remember
no.
that! That was recent,
I was
too!
like,
Wait,
it's like, okay.
Nobody fucking asked you.
It's like 2-3 years later.
What?
That's cool. Shit works, for no joke.
Oh my god, Mott, you posted that.
I did post
You
that.
posted that? I just heard Pure go...
That was... If you heard the sigh, that was me.
you.
Sorry. Yes.
He went green at the same time.
That was just the sound of his soul dying.
Don't worry, all my favorite Xeno ships are the really toxic ones.
Yes. Like Fandom and Shasan.
Ah, shit, that's a good one.
Anyways, shall we move on?
Yes.
No.
Alright.
Never.
We still have quite a bit.
Daddy! Daddy's calling for me!
I just realized how much we've mentioned Star Wars and George Lucas and shit like that, and I just realized I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt.
Oh.
Nerd.
Oh.
Let me post. It's a cool shirt. Let me actually. I'm not even like a huge Star Wars fan, but it's a cool shirt. Let me post this shit.
I mean, I like some Star Wars, alright.
I have been known to wear a Star Wars shirt now and then.
I don't think I have a Star Wars shirt, but I like the series alright. It's pretty
think I
okay.
have
I'd wear a
Four,
Mandalorian
but
shirt.
one of them is
that's
only
about
for
it.
sleeping.
It's another one of those things that's kind of total trash, but I like it.
This is the shirt I'm wearing right here.
I only like C-3PO. That is a nice shirt.
Hey, that's
That's a
pretty,
cool one.
that's pretty
Very
nice. I like the almost comic-esque layout.
I think I
Actually
would
have
wear
one.
one with all. I would wear one with all the cute robots.
I actually
Like-
have a white one that it's all it's like Star Wars manga panels.
Neat.
Yeah, I actually have a picture right here. I forgot to take a picture of that too.
Oh, nice.
That
That
is
one I
really
like
nice.
a lot.
That is really cool.
Nice. Alright.
Ah,
Oh,
Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
I thought that was me for a
Tyler?
second, but it was
What?
just Tyler.
Tyler exploded.
Tyler!
I shouldn't have mentioned Star Wars.
The curse!
Tyler, like, got zapped with the phase transition cannon all of a sudden.
Tyler!
Oh,
Oh,
come
okay,
on.
are you back for real reels?
Tyler!
Sorry, I dropped.
Yeah,
You dropped
okay.
very
It made it sound like
dramatically.
when you dropped, it made the sound like 100 times. It's crazy.
Oh, wait, you did? I didn't notice.
Daddy!
Okay. Well, double check and try to save that, because, yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's try to move
Sounds
along.
good.
I can feel Tyler just sweating. He's got to take this shit. He's just like, for those of you listening at home, Nick's recording just cut out on him due to memory issues. And Tyler, I can feel he doesn't have to say anything. I've been there. They're trying to put together this audio.
Daddy?
Daddy! Daddy! Daddy?